What's up, guys? Welcome to your 142nd Android tutorial for the new Boston. And what we're going to do in this tutorial is basically we're going to draw our pinpoint right when our activity starts based on the location of the user of the phone. So it's just going to place a pinpoint right where they are. So what we're going to have to do is use the GPS to find where their phone is, to get the location from by triangulating the different providers. So it sounds kind of complicated, but it's not going to be too difficult. The first thing that we need to do is we need to set up that bitmap that we're going to draw, or that point that we're going to draw, and we're going to do that within our onCreate method of our map activity. So I just want you guys to scroll down to our first alert, place a pinpoint button, and we're just going to copy this whole thing within the onClick method. So we're just going to hit Control C, scroll up to our onCreate, maybe leave a comment. Placing pinpoint at location. That way we know everything under this line is just for a location. We're going to paste that there, and also the other thing that we need to do is set up a geopoint, and we're going to call this our location. We're going to set that equal to new geopoint. And we're just going to call this we're going to call this latitude and longitude, or lat and long, longi, like that maybe. And then we're also going to have to set up those variables to be ints. So we're going to say int lat is equal to 0 to start out with, int longi is also equal to 0, and there we go. We also want to change this overlay item that we're passing in to be this geopoint, our location. So right now it's just going to draw again our pinpoint at location 0, but what we're going to do is we're going to change these longitude and latitude values to basically where the person is using this application, and we need to do that through a location listener. So that's going to kind of, again, like I said, triangulate the position of the phone according to different towers and all that stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to our activity, and we're going to let it implement a location listener. So we're going to say it implements location listener, like that. And again, we just have to hover over, import, and we also have to add the methods that we need to implement. So we're going to add those and scroll down to the bottom. We have 4 new methods: on location change, on provider disabled, on provider enabled, and on status changed. So we're going to be setting those up. I know this class, or this this activity is getting quite lengthy. We aren't probably going to do too much more in Google Maps, or the Maps API, after we're done with this location listener. So just keep that in mind. We're going to go back to our the new Boston Basics project here in a little bit, but I just want to show you guys a little bit more for Google Maps activities. So now that we have those 4 methods set up at the bottom, what we want to do is we want to create a string reference that our whole class is going to refer to, as well as a location manager. So we're going to first set up our location manager. We're going to call this location manager, and that's just going to help us manage basically the location. So import that as well, and also a string reference, and we're going to call this tower, or towers. So there we go. We have those set up. I know they probably don't mean much now, but I'll try and walk through this section a little bit slowly, even though it's not too complicated. It seems to me, anyways, I've been kind of going quickly through some of these tutorials, so sorry if I lost some of you guys. But for the most part, I just want everyone to be caught up at this point. So probably all we're going to do in this tutorial is set up our location manager and add our permissions to our activity that we're going to need. So again, under our placing pinpoints comment, we're just going to set up our location manager, which we called LM, and we're just going to set this equal to be, we're going to cast it as a location manager, and then we're going to use a method that's going to get the system service, which we've used a few times now, I believe. And we're going to say context dot location service. Basically, all this is going to do is retrieve a location manager for controlling the location updates, those methods that we just added or implemented. So again, we're just going to say location service, hit enter, and now we have our location manager set up. Let's also set up our permissions. So we're going to go into our Android manifest, add a few more permissions so we can get, you know, kind of either a rough estimate of where the person is or a fine location. So we're going to add both of those. So we're going to go over to our permissions, say add permission, uses permission, and then we want to use the one that says access fine location and access course location. So we're going to add that and then add another one for our course location, just in case we can't really get, you know, a fine-tuned location. We're going to be able to access roughly where we're at. So save that, and there we go. Those are the two new permissions that we need for Location Manager and working with the specific location of a person using the application. So there we go. We got that set up, and that's pretty much it for this tutorial. Again, we set up our Location Manager that's going to help us kind of, you know, manage the location, and we added our permissions, and I'll catch you guys in the next tutorial. Have a good one.